Welcome to Weapons Education. Let's talk about a couple of Glocks. Glock talk tonight. The 10mm in particular. If you've been following my channel, you know I really do favor the 10mm round. I'm really happy that Glock still produces two awesome firearms in the 10mm cartridge. We're going to talk about the Glock 20 and we're going to compare it to the Glock 29 briefly, a little bit, and I want your input. But let's talk about the 10mm round in particular first. I got a bunch of ammo here from Georgia Arms. Yes, it's pricey to get 10mm rounds. This is what I use for the range. And then as far as personal protection, I do use double tap, because what double tap does is they hand produce every one of these rounds, and then they pick out every 30 or 40 rounds. They grab one out of the blue and they'll check it for its primer and the powder and the measurements and make sure they're absolutely perfect. So this is really probably the best 10mm ammunition on the planet, double tap. But this is all about the Glock 20 and the Glock 29. First, I want to talk about how did the 10mm even become about? What's it all about? You know, well, Jeff Cooper invented it in the early 1980s, but something happened that brought it to stardom, and it was called the Miami Shootout. I did a video on it a long time ago. I need to revamp that video and really get that story really out to you really clear. But I'll tell you briefly right now about the Miami Shootout. Now think about the early 1980s. Think about the movie Scarface, and I'll tell you right now, that was pretty accurate. The drug cartels, the carnage that was going on in the streets. I've done some research on this, and what took place in the early 1980s in Miami on the news, if you look at the newsreels, what took place was, unless there was like 6 or 8 deaths for that day in a single incident, it didn't even hit the news. 1 person murdered, that was nothing. 3 person, that was nothing. We want 8 or 10 to hit the headlines of the news. There was 20, 30 people a day being gunned down by the drug cartels. So now we're going to talk about the Miami Shootout. The FBI was up against some heavy odds there. And the FBI round, I don't know if you realize it, at the time, in the early 80s, around 84 or 5 or so, 6, 86, their main choice was a .357 Magnum, and for some reason they put a 38 plus P. That was their round, the 38 plus P. And what happened was, in the Miami Shootout, there was 2 bad guys, one in particular, in one car, 2 bad guys in one vehicle, who they, through their intelligence, the FBI realized these bank robbers are just absolutely horrific. They've killed people, they're just absolutely, we got to get these guys off the street, let's go bust them. So they rounded up 4 or 5 vehicles the FBI had, and 8 FBI agents. They had double-out buck shotguns, 9mm. They also had their .357s with 38 plus Ps loaded up. They banged the car. The main guy was Platt. His name was Platt. And Platt, he shocked the FBI. Now there was Platt and another guy. The other guy got killed quickly. And this is the FBI shootout. What happened was the worst carnage in FBI history. Platt, on this adrenaline, not drugs, was able to withstand dozens, about a dozen massive blows from these 38 plus Ps mostly, even some double-out buck. And he survived because his CNS was not hit. But what did he do? He pulled out a .223 amongst some other firearms, and he pulls out a rifle. You know, don't bring a pistol to a rifle fight. And he pulls out a rifle and started mowing down the FBI agents. Boy, did that shock them. So the Miami Shootout goes down in history. We are in the 25-year anniversary. 86, I'm doing this video in November 2011. The Miami Shootout goes down in history as the FBI going to Smith & Wesson saying, we can't do the 38 plus P no more, we need something better. So Smith, my wife's here, say hello.
Hi everybody.
Take a look at this. Smith, take a look down here. What we have on the table is a bucket of Georgia Arms, 200 rounds of 10 millimeter. Smith said, and I'm going to make the story kind of brief. All right, FBI, here's a one powerful round, the 10 millimeter. Take a look back up. And the FBI said, cool, all right, we're gonna go with the 10 millimeter for a while. And the 10 millimeter was invented by Jeff Cooper just prior to the Miami shootout. And I got to give Jeff the thumbs up because I'm really glad you found this round, which ultimately what the FBI did was shorten the 10 millimeter round, just shorten it to a 40 caliber. And that's how you have the birth of the 40 caliber. And think of how many law enforcement agencies use the 40 caliber. It all comes from the 10 millimeter. It's basically the same round, the 40, just shorter, okay? So now let's talk about the 10 millimeter some more. We have a couple of manufacturers that still produce this massively powerful round. I mean, you can look at some videos on YouTube. One guy's shooting through a car windshield like it's saran wrap. And just, I'm telling you, I got my shoulder holster here. This lives with me. This is my Glock 29 with the Glock 20 magazine in it. This lives with me. I feel secure with this, with all these extra rounds, with 28 extra rounds. And I'll show you also this. What happened during the Miami shootout was afterwards, when they were using their 38 plus Ps and they went to Smith & Wesson and said, well, what do we do? One of the FBI agents said, I have this exact gun, this. Take a good close zoom in on that, it's gorgeous. This Delta Elite, Colt 10 millimeter Delta Elite. You can still purchase it. They reintroduced it in 2008 SHOT Show. I don't know if it's the same quality as this one I purchased back in the early 1980s. But I tell you right now, this FBI agent goes to Smith and says, well, I own one of these. Maybe FBI, maybe the FBI needs to use this. Okay? So the FBI ultimately went with the 10 millimeter for a while, and then some of their female officers and things like that, the recoil was a little much, and they shortened it to a 40 caliber, and that's how we got the 40 caliber. Now let's talk about what this video is all about, is the Glock's. Thank you to Glock for making two different models of a 10 millimeter. Thank you to Colt for still producing this 10 millimeter, the Delta Elite. And I know there's a number of others, not many, I know of all the others, but those are the main ones. Those are the main manufacturers that you want to focus in on, particularly Glock, because for the price, $550 or so, whatever it is, $600 for a Glock 29 or 20, you got one powerful Glock. I mean, talk about rock out with your Glock out. This is the most powerful Glock on the planet. Bar none. We know that. It's a round that is just, it's Ted Nugent's favorite round. So, if you're going to buy a Glock 10 millimeter, which one should you get? Please focus in on the two firearms, right from here to here only, and I'll give you some stats. All right, now we have over here the larger 20, and over here the 29, which by the way is the same package as a Glock 30 45 ACP, but we're talking about the 10 millimeter. So which 10 millimeter should you buy? And it's kind of up to you. I'm not going to tell you which one to buy. I'm just going to tell you I have both for different reasons. I carry this in a pouch and I carry this on my body like this in my shoulder holster. So I'll tell you right now, the weight on the smaller one is about 25 ounces, and the weight on the larger one is about 27 ounces. Not too much of a difference, but look at the size difference. You know, with the polymer, the weight's not such an issue, but look at the size difference. Huge size difference with the 29 and the 20. Okay, so the numbers are exactly like this. The width is identical. They're both 1.27 inches. And the trigger pull are identical at 5.5 pounds. Now the line of sight on the 20 is massively different. The line of sight from here to here is 6.77 inches, and the line of sight on the 29 from here to here is 5.95. We'll call it 6 inches. So you got 6 to almost 6 3/4. That's a big sight difference. So probably the 20 for open carry for law enforcement is more appropriate. For concealment, the 29 is more appropriate. Let's talk about the rounds. What is the magazine capacity? On the Glock 29, what you have here is a magazine. These safety check guns, they're all safety checked. The magazine that comes with 10+1, which is no slouch. You know, think of a revolver. Yeah, we can look up now, thanks. Think of a revolver. You got 10+1 here, and then with the 20, and you look at this magazine at 14+1. That's a lot of 10 millimeters. I mean, just think of the power of these things. All right, so you got 14+1, 10+1, which is how they come standard. But what's kind of cool is, as you probably know, the calibers of the Glocks, you can intermingle the magazines. For instance, what I do is this, and that's what I have here in my package here on my shoulder holster. I take a Glock 20 and I use this product here. And everyone asks me this, so I'm glad I don't have to type it out. Please zoom in on this right here. It's called a grip extension. A and G, just Google it. They're inexpensive. Okay, and what you do is, you got it? Thank you. What you want to do is now take this grip extension and just drop it on there and put it on your Glock 29, the smaller package, and now you're carrying 14+1. Spin it around. Okay, now you're carrying 14+1. And that's a nice package there. So you have a small package of a Glock 29. And as far as accuracy, let's talk about accuracy. Which is better for accuracy? This has got the compensator on the top. And by the way, no, the flare coming out of the top of this does not affect my eyes or anything like that, because that question always comes up when I talk about the compensator on a Glock 10 millimeter. But you have both guns here, right here, and this in my hands that carry 14+1. This one's much smaller than this one, about 3/4 of an inch, and you know, in length and height. And it's just huge difference in size. But they play different roles. For open carry, for in your pouch. Maybe if you want to put this in a shoulder holster, you can put the big 20. There is a little bit less recoil, a little bit, but it's. Honey, you shot the 10 millimeter. Did it bother you?
No, not at all.
Not really.
I mean, you can feel it. Excuse me, you can feel it, but it's not bad. No.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it. You can definitely.
Well, but you can feel it, but it's not. If I can hold it.
It's a monster. This is a monster. When you compare this to a 45, it's a monster blast, right? It's fun though.
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't.
For you, I mean,
yeah,
125 pounds, it was no big deal, right?
No, we did it. So.
All right, so the end-all answer is, which Glock is better for you for a 10 millimeter, my favorite round? You tell me. I would say I like the 29. I like this. I got 4 of these. I like the 29 because I can put the 20 in it, and I like the smaller barrel. I like the smaller package. Nothing wrong with the 20. I own it also. That's why I bought it. And for the price, I'm telling you, this is a big bang for the buck. Remember the ammo you want to buy, Georgia Arms for the range, double tap for concealed carry, and you're good to go. Let me know what you think. Which Glock would you buy? Thank you so much. Checking out.